Hello, and welcome to the Mommy and Me podcast. This podcast is hosted by a mommy and daughter duo. We dive deep into the things of life from our very own perspectives. We help Generation X, Millennials, and Generation Z deal with the trials of life. We cross-connect the age groups to see eye to eye and get a better understanding of why we each do what we do. So stay tuned and let's get into the episode. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Mommy and Me podcast. I'm Nicole, the daughter.
And I'm Simone, the mommy.
And thank you for tuning into today's episode, Reaping the Fruit. All right, so Mom, we had a great conversation this morning already, and I feel that just prepared us for today's conversation, reaping the fruit of being a mother, being a parent. Now, I know when kids are young, we have our moments where it's just like, oh, this is so fun, this is great. And then other moments where it just seems so drawn out. But today I want to talk about reaping the fruit, where we are now. Your children are grown. My child is young. And I just want to talk about where we are and what our perspective is. Like, what does it look like reaping the fruit from both of our perspectives?
Okay. And that's a good point. We did have an excellent conversation. I'm telling you, our listeners, we should really, Nicole and I should really leave our mics just running because the conversations that we have offline are so stimulating and juicy. It's like, oh, wait, that's good. Let's save it for the podcast. And then we get here and we're like, what were we talking about? But anyway, reaping the fruit as a parent. And I was telling my daughter this earlier. It is amazing for me to see my children just evolve. So they go through the stages. And what I mean by evolve is, you go through stages in life when you're an infant, you don't know what's going on. You're a little toddler learning how to be independent, and then you get industrious in your whatever, the elementary school years. You grow, you get to become teenagers, and then you blossom into that young adulthood where you're really learning how to navigate life, right? Well, reaping the fruit is knowing that whatever you have sown into your children and the values that you've instilled and the things that they might have bucked earlier on in life, they now start to have those aha moments in their life. And they're like, oh, okay, now they start putting together the pieces as though it were a puzzle, an intangible puzzle when they were younger. Now it becomes more tangible, more real. Like, this is what she meant by that. She was on to something. Okay. And it's not just me. I'm not trying to say I know all and be all and whatever. But the point is, as a parent, what you really want is for when I reap the fruit of what I have labored into my children, that they get to taste the sweetness of what I'm reaping as well. The fruit is not just for me, because you all will have to carry that into your lives and into your children's lives moving forward.
And that's such a good point, Mom. You said so much right there. So I want to go back and cover what you said about eventually it'll make sense. Eventually, everything that you're teaching your child is going to fit together like a puzzle piece. And I was, getting ready for a shower the other day, and I was thinking about all the stuff that you taught me when I was younger about taking care of my face and, making sure that my face is moisturized and all of this. And I was like, my mom taught me all of this when I was younger, but because I was so immature and I didn't understand the importance of it, I just overlooked it. I overlooked it. So now as an adult, though those seeds were planted, they were not seen at that moment. You would see spurts of it, throughout high school. You saw me picking up on the things, and then I fell off for a while once I got pregnant because I had my own, mental things that I was going through. But now, that's so amazing. Now, a year after, 2 years after, like you told me before, it takes about 2 years, a year for you to get back into momentum of who you are after becoming a mother. I now see that as being true. I now see myself being more intentional about my self care. I'm going to the gym more. I am tracking my food, with the help of my husband, because there were some things that we didn't learn, but all of these different experiences and all of these, everything that you've taught me, I am now applying. And I want to say, like, for parents who are in the midst of it, or their children just may seem rebellious, or their children, they're in high school and they just won't listen, they're trying to do, as long as you stay the course and you try, make sure that you're still disciplining them like how you can. Pray about how you can find different strategies as to how to train up your children, but don't give up on them, because they're going to remember it. They're going to apply it later in life. So what I'm trying to say here is, just keep going and do not give up on your child, whether it be your own child, your grandchild, your friend's child, a child that you've adopted, whatever it is, even if it's your cousin, your niece, your nephew, don't give up on them, even though they seem rebellious, because whatever you teach them now, they're going to remember it later. And they're going to come back to you later asking you, what was that one thing that you taught me? You said something along the lines of X, Y, and Z.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the most important thing, I think, of this particular conversation, in terms of reaping the fruit. When you're talking to your children, when you're addressing them, when you're sharing wisdom, you don't even realize you're sharing it. You're just dropping knowledge just because, for knowledge's sake. All right. You happen to know something, you say something, and you don't know how it's going to impact their lives. What you say is impactful, it's valuable. So it is so beautiful to see now that my children realize that it's not just about what's going on in the world. It's not just about what's happening on social media. It's not just about doing all those things. What's happening is really setting the tone at a young age for your children, so that as you get older, it seems to mesh and meld. You see growth. You see growth. You stress the importance of education, right? You want your child to read your book, learn to look things up. Learning to look things up in the dictionary is not just a ritualistic thing. You learn how to do your own research and not be gullible to take anybody's word for what they say. Okay? You learn to trust, okay, I trust what you say, but you go back and you verify for yourself, because someone's word is not always the only resource or the source that you need to rely on in order to know whether or not what they're telling you is valid, because they can be very convincing. Actors are very convincing, but they're not really who they portray themselves to be on television, right? So just watching them grow and develop their identities. Like when I see Jace, talking to you about certain things, and he'll put his little hand up with, like, he's asking a question, like, huh? No, 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 no. He wants to know. You're watching him develop. His curiosity is developing. It's a beautiful thing.
Hey y'all, let's take a quick break to shout out our sponsors. Who are you? How are you supposed to behave? And what in the world is a woman's true identity? Society has had women confused about who they really are. But no more. In 60-Day Affirmations for Daughters, Wives, and Mothers, Nicole dives deep into the Bible and breaks down who you really are in Christ. In this book, you'll realize who you are, what you're called to do, and recognize the power and authority that is gifted to you as the daughter of the Most High God. This is not a book to skip over. If you are someone or you know someone that's been struggling to discover their identity, this is the book for you. So don't wait any longer. Grab your book, grab your copy by going to NicoleCOdom.com/books. Again, that's NicoleCOdom.com/books. Now let's get back into the episode.
So I want to talk about where you are now, Mom. Just giving an example of your children, I'm thinking you have 3 kids, and each of us have different experiences. Each of us have different lifestyles, but as we spoke of today, it seems as though we're all coming back to certain things. Our roots are grounded, and it's like, okay, just seeing that, like, how does that make you feel as a mother? There's a scripture that says, raise a child in the way that they should go, so that when they grow older, they will not depart from it. It doesn't say that they may not, dabble here or, try a few things out, because we each explore. But when we get older, it seems as though we come back. So what is your take on that, Mom?
Elation. When I see when I hear it repeated back to me, it's kind of like when an instructor is teaching a class and it's a really hard subject, and you see the faces of the students. They don't get it. They're not understanding. They are pretty much ignoring the content because they just feel as though, okay, I don't understand what she's saying. This lady, it's not sinking in. When I hear my information, my guidance, my counsel repeated back to me in an aha moment, and when you say, oh, Mom, I understand now why you said, I can't leave the chicken out for 3 days on the counter because salmonella will set in, or something like that. I understand now when you said separate the light clothes from the dark clothes, from the towels, from the light, the white clothes. I understand that when you go through enough of your own white clothes that have now turned pink or black or gray. Just the simple things like that. But when the teacher sees their pupil finally get it, it's like, okay, my work was not in vain. And I thank you, Father, above, for allowing me to be able to impart this wisdom onto my children. Because something like that might seem really inconsequential. It may seem really, the word I'm looking for is simplistic. But you'll never know how much of an impact it has on their life as a whole, because there's structure there behind the lesson, behind the words of wisdom. You want to know that you have structure and order in your life. So honestly, to me, I just feel really good to know that at least I've been able to sow something into a child that I was the only person that you could rely on when you were younger. It's a good feeling.
That's really good, Mom. I'm excited because right now, where I am is Jace is a toddler. He turns 2.
No.
Like, by the time this episode comes out, he'll be 2. but it's amazing to see where he was just a year ago, and his same shoes don't fit, and now he's talking more. He's able to express himself. He's getting on my bed by himself with his just flexible self. It's amazing to see his development. It's amazing. I asked him the other day, I was sitting here with Josh. The other day, and I asked Jace, what begins with the letter A? I never asked him that before, like what begins with the letter A. And he sat there for a second and he said, airplane. I said, oh, wow. Okay. Like Josh and I looked at each other like, whoa, hold up.
Really? He said airplane, Mom?
Yes.
Oh, Mom is my nickname sometimes when I talk to Nicole. When she's in mom mode and I'm in grandma mode, I'll say, hey, Mom, because just recognizing the fact that she is a mother now too. But oh, that is so precious. That is so precious.
Yes. It just surprised us because we're like, he's really growing so quickly. And it encourages me as a mom to say, okay, he's really picking up on what I'm teaching him, even though he doesn't seem to listen sometimes, he still is. It's like someone gave this analogy to me the other day about reading a book to him. And her thing was, she asked me, she said, okay, do you like to read books? I said, yes, I love reading. I read all the time, but I typically wait, until my son goes to sleep or I'm alone. And she's like, no, don't do that. And she explained why. She said, when you read in front of your child. So they see you reading, they will pick up on reading also. So I began doing that. And now he brings to me books that he wants me to read to him, or he'll come and he'll find 6 books for whatever reason and bring them all and sit on the couch with me, and he'll just flip through them. And he's like, he'll show me what he's looking at and he'll ask me to read it to him. And when he gets up to play, I still read it to him, because it's like us having, this was the analogy. I took the long road, but this was the analogy. It's like us having the TV on while we're in the kitchen cooking. We're not looking at it, but we're still hearing it and we're still getting information. There are still things that will stick out to us where it may call our attention back. It's the same thing. So when we apply that to real life, that is real life. But when we apply that to older kids, like we said, you're just mom, you're just dad, you're just grandma, you're just grandpa that's always spitting out knowledge, and the kids are like, okay, whatever. But it will apply, it will come up when they need it.
Not falling on deaf ears. It really isn't. And that's for sure. And he's going to watch you and learn from you. He was putting on his shoes the other day. You'll be surprised in the second year of life, he's going to have so many firsts. All of a sudden, he's going to be wanting to brush his teeth by himself. Well, he does it anyway. But I'm just saying, he's just going to go in there and get it and want to do it. He's going to want to put his shoes on. Bless it. It'll be on the wrong feet, but he will definitely have his shoes on, and he's going to want to start to pick out his own outfits. Okay, so that favorite shirt or that favorite, get used to it and buy it in a nice big size. Get a couple of them, because he's going to graduate all the way for a couple of years. Same outfit. But reaping the fruit again, when I look towards my children and I see how their children are benefiting from what you've learned, it's priceless. It really is. It's developing strong relationships too. I know that we had some challenges growing up. I grew up I don't know if some of you may be new to the podcast, but when I was raising my children, I was divorced. You know, by the time Nicole came along, her father and I had separated. By the time she was about a year old, and her older brothers are a couple of years older than her. So for the majority of your life, I was the only person and in the household. Now they, do have a relationship with their dad and everything. That's not the point. The point is what they saw me do, what they saw me say was the foundation for a lot of who, how they've grown and interacted, and how they've just matured. So that's kind of a lot of pressure on me. I didn't see it as pressure back then. But when you have that person in your life, that little person looking up to you, be mindful of how you speak to them. A look can say a lot. A reprimand can really go and cut deep if it's not said in the right context. You really want to develop a strong, loving relationship with a child so that they can feel secure and they can know that they have not been abandoned, even if that person is still in the house. Okay? You can have abandonment issues and you can have both of your parents in the house. It's a psychological toll that's taken on children nowadays. And then they grow up to be broken individuals because they were broken children. And hurt people tend to hurt people. So you don't want that type of that type of foundation to be built or to be laid so that you are raising a broken child.
Okay. This is powerful. This is so good, Mom. So the other day, there was somebody that we both follow that was saying to apologize to your children, right? And some people didn't like that. Some people thought it didn't matter. But I want us to look at ourselves. I want you, our listeners, to really assess yourself and say, you know what have I changed about myself, or what has hindered me, or what has advanced me because of my parents, because your father wasn't there, because your mother had people coming in and out of the house, because you had both parents there. How did that affect you? How did it affect you when your mother said, get out of here, I never wanted you in the first place? And now you're saying that to your own child. Why would you want to repeat this cycle? You don't. So here's where forgiveness comes in. Because if you don't forgive, you won't be able to change that about yourself and change the trajectory of your children. If you knew that you grew up in a household where people were addicted to crack, people were addicted to smoking, people were addicted to drugs, people had to sell or felt that they had to sell their bodies. If you don't deal with these traumas, then it is going to stick with you and you're going to repeat this cycle, whether you know it or not. Everything that you have experienced has built you up to become the person that you are, whether you like it or not, and it will build up your children too. Learn that children are humans, because that is the issue that some of your parents have had, was that they didn't look at you as a human being that was being fed by them with words. So please know that your words are very important. The way your words hold more weight than what your actions do.
Wow. And keep going.
People say that words don't hurt, but it does. That's a whole lot. Whoever came up with that sticks and stones it might hurt my bone or whatever, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. You know, your actions, of course, hold weight. Your words hold weight, but isn't even God said his word holds more weight than his name. Like you can't, your words hold power. God created the whole earth by his words. And you look at your circumstance, you look at your education, and you say, well, you say that you're stupid. You call yourself stupid. You call yourself that you won't ever get out of the circumstance. You call yourself broke. You call yourself working to die. Like, don't do that. You can't say that life is short, because God's word promises that if you abide in him, he'll make your life long. If you obey your parents, that you will be blessed with long life. You will have faith. Like you, it is important that you treat your children as human beings as well as yourself. Stop speaking death over your own children. I heard somebody call their child a name that you would never, like that is, they named their child that. It is, I will tell you off screen, you know, because I don't want to say it on here. They may listen. But I'm just like, why would you name your child this name? You got to look up the definitions of these names, because what you speak over your child, it will be so. You know, there's a woman who I also met. It's like the complete opposite, right? This woman is a woman of faith, and she and her husband named their child Pioneer. And I didn't know that she was a Christian. We just bumped into each other randomly at the park. I was like, oh, what's his name? She said his name is Pioneer. And I said, it just rung something on the inside of me. I'm like, that is such a powerful name. And it holds so much weight, because our names hold weight. What we call each other holds weight. So all I'm saying is to be careful how you treat your children, because they will grow up and they will become that very person that you do not want them to be. They will repeat this cycle if you don't break this cycle.
That is powerful. Exactly. And I can't help but thinking, when you do call your child by their name or out of their name or what have you, you will still reap fruit. It just may not be sweet. It just may not be sweet. It may be the most bitter fruit that you've ever tasted in your life. If you continually degrade, demean, kowtail, just beat down, berate, any of those adjectives that describe oppressing someone, either mentally, physically, spiritually, in any capacity, you will reap that fruit in ways that you never thought possible. So reaping the fruit can go either way. It's your choice, because you have a choice in how you want to rear your children, or the children who have been entrusted to you in one capacity or another. You may be a preschool teacher with no children of your own, and you whatever you do, whatever you say to these young minds, it's going to come back. It will come back to you, even though you may not have them in your life later on. It does not go undocumented. Okay? So think about that. You know, when you're sitting around and you're talking to, oh, that little so-and-so or this little rug rat. No, my child is not a rug nor a rat. Okay? They are neither rug nor rat. They are
Period. Okay.
Neither rug nor rat have I. Okay. So think about it. The joking and stuff, yeah, that's fine. It's okay to joke. But when your jokes cut, how did they feel? I'm not saying I'm perfect. I am not saying it, because there's a lot of revelation that came on to me as I grew older. we may joke and say, oh my God, you made me sick. You made me so, I can't stand you. Or joke like that. And in actuality, what are you saying? What are you planting? What seed are you planting in folks? So be mindful.
No, that's really good. Okay. You know what? I actually read this yesterday, and this is so important. This is Proverbs 26:18-19. This is the Passion Translation. It says, the one who is caught lying to his friend who says, I didn't mean it, I was only joking, can be compared to a madman randomly shooting off deadly weapons. I don't think we realize how important our words are, especially in raising our children, building relationships, because our words are literally, our mouths are like guns. The words are it just flying out arrows and bullets, and literally it's so much more powerful than what we accredit it to, because anything that has happened to you that you hold on to more than likely has happened to you by words. And of course, there are some actions that people have experienced that are brutal and awful. And I'm not overlooking that. I'm just saying these words are important. And I don't know, I just really want to emphasize that this episode. Secondly, forgiveness. I keep going back to this because I need you guys to grasp how important this is. When that woman said to her followers to forgive to their children, people started sending in testimonies about what their children said and how it changed their relationship. There were people who expressed that their child was thinking about poisoning their mother. Their child was thinking about killing their parents or that parent because of what they said to them, because of what they've done, whether they knew it or not, whether they neglected them, whether they just, and the thing is, the parent just said, I'm sorry for whatever I have done. They didn't even know that they were doing something wrong. So sometimes us parents may not know that we're doing something wrong. Just go up to you. I want to challenge you as a parent to say, hey, I'm sorry if there is anything that I have done that has hurt you. I'm sorry. I don't want that to stand in the gap in the way of our relationship. I don't want it to hinder our relationship. Please find it in your heart to forgive me. Please let's rebuild our relationship. If there is any bitterness, resentment, anxiety, rejection, abandonment, depression, whatever that has come up because of my actions, please forgive me. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. It was a 7-year-old kid, a 6-year-old kid that was thinking about poisoning their parent. Like, what? You have to understand it is important. The roles of parents is important. And just stay tuned for that honesty time, because I'm going to dive deeper into this according to what scripture says, because that's the root, so.
Absolutely. And that's a bitter root. That's a bitter root. I'm telling you, when I think of all of the opportunities that I had to, out of anger, lash out, tear down my children, or, because I am not one for unruly children. I find that very disrespectful. Not only to whomever the unruly child is around, but to the unruly child themselves, because they're not being offered the opportunity of correction and discipline. With regard to what you were saying just now, oh my goodness, it escapes me. But okay, I'm not going to be able to recoup that probably until after the podcast, my thought that I was going to mention. But it's very, very important That's all. I don't know how else to sum it up. To be aware of what you're saying to these children. Now you think of the things that you might have gone through as an adult, if you're my age, if you're a Gen Xer, and the things that we were subject to when we were younger. You know, children are seen and not heard, don't speak unless you're spoken to, and all of that. And now when you move fast forward to the millennials and Gen Z, who are very outspoken and very abrasive in their own way. And I do mean abrasive, because some of them don't have any regard. It's all about self. And that's not I'm not trying to call you all out. I'm stating a comparison. I'm stating a comparison between the generations. And this is why we want to be able to bring our generations together so you can see eye to eye. This is what I came from in my youth and what the expectations were of me. This is where you are and how the expectations have evolved. Doesn't necessarily make it wrong, doesn't necessarily make it right. It's how you, as a person, Gen Xer, millennial, Gen Z, opt to use that for the greater good in terms of how do I use my newfound voice to be able to, raise up the next generation so that they can take the lead on things in life. What do I say to them? Well, take some wisdom from the Gen Xers. Lead by example, yes, but also sow into them good seed, good words, so that the fruit that you reap is one that you'll be able to palate.
That is so good, Mom. And the thing is, like you said earlier, this is not just for you, because your children will have to go out into the real world one day and deal with people. And if you do not raise them up in the way that they should go, disciplined, integral, kind, patient, diligent, and so on and so forth, if you don't raise them up with wisdom, they will become the very people that you hate. They will become the very people that you would never want to be around if they were not your child. So, okay, period. It's just like that's a dangerous thing. When you don't even want to be around your own child, if you didn't birth them, you wouldn't be around them. So for you as a parent, do the work for yourself. Do your healing and go up to your child, love on them, forgive them. And if you don't know how to love, go to the one who is love, because he will restore you and make you anew. I mean, really, really, he is not like our earthly parents at all.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Alchemy, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
His love is unconditional. He's forgiving. His mercies are made new I can't not talk about my Father, my Heavenly Father, because he's always there. He's always there. He's always there with open arms. I'm going to celebrate him because he is everything that we need. He has time for all of his children. And that's the thing that we need to look to. He's the one that we need to look to as parents. And I'm going to get more into this on the honesty time, but it's just, he's so good. Anyways, reap the fruit. You will reap the fruit, whether you like it or not, whether it's good or bad. Deal with yourself so that you can deal with your children properly.
Exactly. Perfectly said. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why I said I am elated at the fruit that I am reaping right now. My daughter Can't be more proud of her. My sons, I love them so much and I'm proud of them as well. And I pray the same for you. Whatever type of relationship you may have had, it's not too late to either improve upon it and make it better or turn it around so that the fruit that you reap in the future will be sweet.
And know that it's never too late.
Nope.
Never too late. I don't care how old you are, how old your children are, it's never too late. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying this long. Please, if this has helped you in any way, shape, or form, send it out because there, you know there are people out there who need this word, who need this message, and it's so good. So I want to encourage you guys, please leave a review for us. The more reviews we get, the higher up on the podcast listings that we go. Share it with your friends and family so that they can hear this wisdom from my mama and I. And of course, honesty time. Please submit your questions, submit whatever challenges you're going through so that we can help you get through it. We want to help you guys with direct, clear-cut solutions to your problems, to your questions. And be sure to follow us on social media. All of that stuff, that good stuff is down in the description below.
And until next time, fist bumps and deuces. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.